Well, you know what? I'm just going to go with it. I hope the magnification's not too bad. I'll just try to go over the numbers. I'm not going to do a bit, kind of more or less just doing the general bit of what I'm about to do with the First Army. I'll try to go a little bit. I just want to make sure where exactly you can still, okay, you can't see that. I think it's any, okay, it's not too bad. I'll tell you what I did with the 10th Army. Not a heck of a lot. All I really basically did was move the 10th Army headquarters away from essentially from the frontline position. So I'm not sure if you remember, but the Germans did manage to take this position here. So they were able to push us back significantly. So I do know there's a lot of strength points sitting there. They've got a lot of strength there. The German 11th Army. Now we're going to talk about the German 9th Army and what they've been doing to the Russian 1st Army, which is what I'm trying to deal with right now, and it's not very nice. I'm in a lot of trouble. So I think I mentioned before, these little blue things are basically the flight path for the reconnaissance airplane for the Russians, so it allows me to see what's under the hood, kind of thing. And the Germans were able to take these two entrenched positions just a couple of days ago. So this is essentially January 3rd, 4th, 1915. And so they've taken these two positions. And you can see what I'm in a hell of a lot of problems. Not to mention they still have a ridiculous amount of strength. They're doing this right. They're not doing, which I keep trying to get my mind gets trapped into repeatedly, is trying to either do too much in too many places, or considering I still think I can just go all the time. And it's like, no, it's a slow plodding whatever. I'd like to see if the historical generals had to deal with that as they went in, because they do know, they said there was a dramatic difference if they said, if you took somebody from 1914 and brought them in like say from Napoleonic times, they would at the very beginning would understand a lot of the military tactics and whatever is going on. But if you brought them to 1918, supposedly their brains would be blown out of their, you get it. Anyways, what I'm trying to say here is also for the Russians, I have to remind myself, even though I do here have 34 supply points, I can mount an attack. However, I can't afford the repercussions, especially due to the fact that I do know the Germans have, like I said, have a ridiculous amount of strength points sitting here, and they have I do remember seeing a lot of supply points. They're coming in for a long, drawn-out thing. All right, so I did move already the headquarters back. I had to get them the hell out of there. They were stuck right with these guys right here. So this solitary, they're decimated. They used to, I think, be, there was quite a bit of, because they were back here. So they've, like I said, taken these two positions. So this is not entrenched. Ironically, in a weird way, this is entrenched because it's supposedly the whole hex under certain, which is odd because if you look at it, because this game system is so into hex sides, and if you look at it from a hex side point of view, as far as I'm concerned, and this is the way I'm going to get around it in a weird way, but it seems odd, is, okay, yes, I can see this is entrenched, but this shouldn't be. Why would this be entrenched when this used to be an Russian entrenched position? Does this not make sense? But because this is entrenched, supposedly this entire hex is entrenched. This one is not, that's for sure. And unfortunately, this person is in entirely clear terrain. This is bad business. Like I said, the Germans are able to swallow up. And what I'm petrified of at the moment, and I'm sure you can see this, is the fact that if they take this position, they've essentially trapped whatever's left in here. They're out of supply, out of communication, they're out of luck. They're screwed. So I have to try to bring them back out of here as quickly as possible. I'm not able to do that super quick. It's going to be a hex at a time. Someone's probably going to get squashed. There's not much I can do about it. I should have planned ahead of time, but I didn't. And now I'm going to have to try to do the best I can. How am I going to do the best I can? Well, at first I was going to just try to hold a line as much as possible, but I can't hold a line as much as possible if I want to try to save whatever I can, which is try to, I've got to keep, I can't have these guys starting to squash out. I think I could potentially, allow them to take this position, because I would still have a line of communication this away. But this is key. If they take this position, I'm toast. So I'm still allowing them to say that it's entrenched because of what they said, and the way I would have looked around it anyways. If you want to look at it on an adjacent hex sides, you'd say, okay, this one is entrenched, therefore this adjacent hex side as well excuse me, should be also entrenched. And since this guy was attacking from across here, this person's allowed to use adjacent hex sides as defense, and therefore he could use that entrenched area, is the way I would kind of look at it. All right, so what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm not going to get into the super specifics, but what I'm going to try, essentially these two positions are going to be abandoned. So they'll turn into devastated areas, slow these guys down, but it doesn't really matter because they've got just a ridiculous amount of crunch power. As you can see here, they got 22 here, 21 there, and 21 there. And remember, if they can fully supply a counterattack, that's tripled. That is disgusting. I don't even want to start. Let's not go down this road. That's what I'm trying to say. They're here to get rid of me. The main thing is, like I said before, I've got two pronged here. I don't want to get destroyed, the first army here. I want to save as many troops as possible, and I do know they're going to probably, it looks pretty good, they're going to cleave the 7th and the 1st Army from here, so I'll have to deal with that at one point, but that's okay due to the fact that I don't know if you can kind of hopefully see this, because that's going to be the big sweetheart coming up here. So that's all I'm doing. I'm going to just try to move some troops here, but here's the position off to the side. I'm probably going to vacate this position, I do believe, and we're going to I'm going to start moving these troops so that way I can get some extra 6 strength points plopped on over here is what I'm trying to do, and get the hell out of there. And we'll try to reform behind the border again as quickly as I can. Oh brother. So let's get to the 7th Army quickly, which is going to be the fun stuff. I'll zoom in a little tiddly bits because I think I'm going to make sure you can see that. I don't want to get that. All right. He's one of the bits. So last round, the German 9th Army did notice that there's a huge amassing of troops and artillery and everything the Russians can muster right now in the 7th Army. So they got the 12th Corps over here, they got 7th Army direct over here, and then they've got the 11th Corps. And then they've got some off to the sides here, because I'm using... I'm going to end up doing that. I've got the whole Baltic area. I want to start getting into the marine bits. And then, as you know, I think you may know, we got Memel over here. So what are the Russian 7th Army going to try to do? Well, we're going to hopefully take Memel this thing, but we got to be a little cognizant of that. The Germans are going to be, you know, hopefully, potentially popping through there. I think I've got a good chance here. Like I said, the Germans did try to slow us down here. They tried to take a pop and whatever. We counterattacked and did a pretty good job, I think. They still got quite a bit of damage here. They've got some line of communication supply constriction issues going this way. I don't even know if we're allowed to go this via this little spit, whatever, but that's the way I'm using it. It's just this little break across. But so they've also got to be cognizant. If I can, maybe it's more, it would be more, I don't know, we'll see what, I'll get to this later, the 7th Army, of the intricacies of which way to go. But I'm going to hammer away at Memel. I'm hoping to God that we can take Memel. Geez, that would be sweet. Well, these two positions would be sweet. But we'll see what we can do. Or, well, you're right, if I take this one, then they're screwed, aren't they? Interesting. I think I could. That would really screw Memel. Interesting. Okay, maybe this is the key one, but then I get myself into trouble. I don't think this is also in an entrenched position. Interesting. I'll have to go and take a look at that. I don't think this is, because this doesn't have enough coastline or whatever. I'll have to take a look. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. If it isn't, maybe I should have used some reconnaissance there, darn it. Anyway, and I didn't. All right, hopefully that went well. All right, see you later, bye.